Welcome to User and I, the channel where I explore all things UX and UI design. And today I thought it'd be good to take you through a real world example of what I do in my day job. So typically I contract as a software engineer and UX and UI designer depending on what the company needs. So this particular startup I'm working for, they found that when a customer logs into their account, they struggle to manage their subscriptions. They want to be able to pause them. We wanted to give them a bit more information about when things were coming out in terms of, is your subscription 30 days, is it 60 days, or is it 90 days? And do I have to cancel this or can I pause it? So I'm going to run you through what it looks like currently and what we arrived at after a few design stages. So the task I was given was, as a customer who has bought a subscription, I want to be able to go in and pause my subscription. So this is exactly what a subscription page looks like. You had the product here, in this rectangle here, and this was the product title. It's a sexual wellness brand for those wondering. And here is the next delivery date of their subscription, the frequency, and the card number. So, and that's all it is, just down the page basically. I see 4 call to actions here, and I'm going to break down exactly what I wanted to change as soon as I started this task. So immediately what jumped out at me is that we have the same button here, here, and here. And upon further inspection, these 3 buttons lead to the exact same place. However, this isn't an action that can be taken. You can't actually edit the frequency of the subscription you have already. So I knew immediately that I'd have to change this or take it out. Another thing that stood out to me was the repetition of subscription here on the titles. We already know it's a subscription, we don't need to repeat that information, so that was something else that jumped out at me. Another thing I found interesting was the cancel button. Because I was going to be adding a pause button somewhere, because that's the actual task, I needed to find a way to include an extra button either here or somewhere else without making it look too crowded. So I'm going to run through what I did and I'll talk you through my changes whilst I'm making them. One thing I missed out was I'm going to need a view that shows the user what their subscription looks like when they're paused, and I'm going to have to communicate that whether it's active or whether it's scheduled or whether it's in progress. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to recreate this rectangle here, and I'm going to copy some of the elements over. So I'm going to press A and create myself a new artboard, so I can still see that as an example. Awesome. And then I'm going to sample this color here. I'm going to select a rectangle just here. I'm going to press Shift X to invert the colors. I'm also going to increase the thickness a little bit and sample this color here. Okay, so that's exactly the same color. Next thing I'm going to do is give this a fill, just so I can select it easier without having to click on the lines individually. Okay, so we have our shape, that's fine. First thing what I want to address is I'm going to start taking some of these elements. So this I'm not going to recreate, that's not necessary. I also don't need to recreate these sections here, so I'm going to screenshot them and add them to my bit. And I'm creating this mobile first, so this would be a square as opposed to a rectangle for now. So I'm going to screenshot this, and I'm going to zoom in just a little bit, and I'm going to duplicate it 3 times. And that's because I'm going to crop it 3 times. So what I want is that bit, then I want that bit, and then I want that top one. Okay, so we have all of this. I'm going to group those, and I'm going to give an auto layout, and we're going to bring that down here. What I'm also going to do is scale this up, just because it's going to be on mobile, and in that case these are going to end up stacking. So I will remove the auto layout for now. I'm going to bring this down here, and that sits right there. I'm going to scale that back down. Okay, I'll put that back in the group, and we're going to leave that here. So we're going to leave this top area for all of this information basically. I'm also going to give this a auto layout. Awesome, so that's now got its auto layout. And what I'm also going to do is duplicate this again, and I'm going to crop this. If I zoom out a little bit, I can just take just that section here. I'm going to pan across, and I'll take that too. And I'm just going to put that in this group just there, and I'll stack them. Okay, so we currently have this taken shape on mobile, which is fine. I'm going to scale this down a little bit, and as you can see, we've got some padding in here as well, so I'm just going to mirror that. Let's go 30 on the left and right, 30 on the top and bottom. Okay, that's fine. And the first thing I'm going to address from the list I gave earlier is I want a way to be able to differentiate between what is a active subscription, what's a scheduled subscription, and what's currently been paused. So I'm going to come in here and, in fact, let's do this. We're going to call that active. We're going to zoom in here, and we're going to give that an auto layout and leave it all lowercase for now. And we are going to give it some, in fact, let me sample a background color. We're going to give it a background color of the same color we gave the line. Bring that in here now, and we'll give it some padding. We will also round the edges. If you're not new to this channel, you know we love a rounded edge. I'm also going to increase that font size a little bit, and I'm also going to give it an uppercase styling, and I'm going to make that semi-bold. And if you drag this over, typically, see how it wants to be inside the auto layout? What we can do is click, press, and hold space. And now once we drag it over the auto layout, we can add it right on the edge, which is exactly what I was looking for. So that's part one done. We can now differentiate between what's active, what's paused, and in fact what I'll do is I'll also group these, and then I will give this whole frame an auto layout, and I'll take out the padding. Well, I'll give it a padding of 30 on each side, so we can see just what that looks like. And if I was to duplicate this, and I'll give it a spacing of 30. So if we change this to paused, and what I'll do is that I'll create a paused screen down here. And next for me is hiding this button here, because it's not usable. We can't change, users can't change the frequency, and that's a simple case of cropping. That's part 2 of the user story. That's fine. And then we want users to be able to delay or pause their subscription for 30 or 60 days. So immediately what came to mind is, remember up here where we had the cancel button? I wanted to put another one here that said pause. And then I thought it's probably best to allow the user to do it where all the other actions are in relation to what they're actually changing. So I decided to give it a label here, pause for 30 days and pause for 60 days. And I will mirror the styling here. If I just sample this red. Okay, Figma's a bit annoying. I don't think that's going to be the same red, but it's close enough. I'm not going to be too particular about that. And then we're going to give it the underline that we've got here. I'm going to give these an auto layout. And I'll increase that by 10. Right, so we can slot that in, but I also want to increase the font size tiny bit. I know mobile you do kind of need a bit more room because your thumb is bigger than a mouse point, of course. So I'll increase the space in between them. And what I will also do is put it in this group here. Now I'm going to give this a background color because what I want to do is place this over here, which would replace and cover where the edit is. Because what we're going to do, this is basically a mock-up I'm going to send, that I did send to the founders just to confirm if this is something they wanted. So I'm going to give that a fill of white. You can already see that's covering that area. I'm going to give it some padding. And it appears it's just a bit. Okay, that's fine. Okay, pause for 30 days and this needs to come down just a little bit. Okay, so we have part 3 of the user story done. Pause for 30 days, pause for 60 days. Then we have an edit on the payment and we've hidden the call to action on delivers every 30 days. And we have an active tag that communicates to the user the status of their subscription. What's missing here is that cancel button. So what I'm going to do is bring back this title here that I weren't a fan of before. And we're going to crop this down to here. I'll take it from there so I can crop a little bit later on if I need to. And I'm going to put that up here. And then I'm going to drag it into... In fact, let me paste it in there. There you go. Your subscription. I'm going to scale it down a little bit. Okay, cool. Perfect. And we also need a label for cancel. If I group that, I put pause just in here. And I'm going to mirror the style I had on it before, so I'm going to remove the underline and then I'm going to scale that up just a tiny bit and bring that in here so it aligns with that left hand side. I'm also going to nudge this label just so it aligns with the end of that cancel button for some uniformity. And I guess I need to do it down here as well. This isn't the neatest way to do this, I must say. Gonna delete that one and just duplicate it again. We won't waste time trying to copy and paste everything in the same space. Okay, perfect. The more I look at these labels, the more I actually want to scale up the font size. Okay. Right, so far we have this. Okay, there we go. That's a lot brighter. This doesn't need to be semi-bold. Adhering to what they've got existing on site. And I've just noticed that this title here has a tiny bit of letter spacing. So I do want to include that to match the style of the site. And then I'll bring these two back over just to align it with that area. Cool, perfect. Okay, so here's our mobile view. What we want now is a screen that shows what information we have when it's paused. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to change this button to resume. I'm going to use this area here to be the main sort of action in terms of pausing and cancelling. Get rid of all of this because we don't need this anymore. We also don't need this anymore. But what we have is an area that allows us to see information about the subscription, right? So whilst the subscription is paused, we won't send you out another placeholder for the product name. We won't charge you. And the last bit of information is your subscription will resume on, let's give a fictitious date, 03 Sep 2023. And I'm going to make that bold, and I'm also going to make that a color that stands out so for quicker scanning. Oh dear, that's not what I wanted. Okay, and I've also included if I group these actually, and I won't give an auto layout, but I'll increase it a little bit. What I've done is that I've added a little sentence that allows you to still cancel your subscription when it's on the pause screen. And what I will do is increase some spacing between this area here. That looks like it gives some breathing room. And I guess I'll make this an auto layout in the end. And a few bits of spacing. Okay, I want to increase this font size here just to make that stand out a tad bit more. also going to make that regular actually. It's not the exact font I'll be using, but it makes me feel a little bit more comfortable to make it look nice. And I think I will actually just rename this to front lubricant to match the current product name in the screenshot. Okay, so if I can show a before and after, if I quickly do a desktop version actually, let's do that. And what we want to do is, let's make sure this is set up in the way that I want it to. It should be an easy task. I group you two and I'll make you an auto layout. If I bring that out just there. I'll increase that spacing down here and move that across. This is fiddly when it's resting on auto layout, so I'll just use space and eyeball it. Also copy that across, and what I will do is I'm going to crop this again and I will also crop downwards. Perfect. Okay, that's what we'll have on desktop. In fact, I'll make it a little bit longer. Drag these two together this time around, and I'll just duplicate this line. And adhering to the above, it looks like we've got a bit more spacing up here, so I'll do just that. Also looks like Visa ends after. Okay, so that's what we have for desktop. And on mobile, and on the desktop version of mobile, of the pause screen, I want to do the same thing basically. And I reckon actually I can just copy this top section now. And get rid of that. That now says resume. And there we have it. In an ideal world, I personally would have removed this subscription appearing on every single one. However, after talking to the founders, they were just quite happy to leave it there. They were more focused on getting the pause functionality in. So I've left that in for this whole thing basically. So here's what we have on mobile, and we can clearly see that users can pause for 30 or 60 days. We can clearly see what's paused and what's active by looking at the page. What I was keen on is a user being able to cancel even if their subscription was paused down here, and when it is paused, we provide them with extra information that gives them comfortability that they're not going to be charged, they're not going to receive another product, and it's going to automatically resume on this date here. And I guess as a task, I'm quite happy with how it ended up. Let me know what you think in the comments below. What would you have done differently? What do you like? What don't you like? And I will see you on the next video. Please like and subscribe if you want to do more of these, and I'll see you on the next video.